Plan this up and make it.
I tell you our board bought an owl.
Yeah.
Oh,
John is not eating.
New.
that's
You
it.
wanna put it over here? You
That's
see
it.
what my cup says?
Okay. Are we ready for? Not yet.
Once we go live.
Okay, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I call the September Guam Board of Accountancy Board meeting to order. Before we begin, we'll just reconfirm that the meeting has been properly posted and it looks like
Yeah.
it's
September 11 and 16.
notice on the 11th and the 16th, yes, twice, so we'll go ahead and begin. First item would be the approval of last month's minutes, which was back in August. And so the minutes are in our package and was sent out through email.
To approve subject to correction.
Second.
Second, okay, good, no changes. The minutes are approved. Next item, we'll just go to old business, Dave, and so you want to talk about the endowment.
Excuse me. At this point, as of September 15th, endowment fund was up to 6.298 million, basically 6.3 million. Although the end of August 29th, it was 6.183 million, so it's up about 100,000 in 15 days. Again, that's the up and downs of the market, but it's been over 6 million for a reasonable amount of time now since August. Again, it's showing a year-to-date performance this year of 7.7%, which is well over the 6%, which is our 20-year annual return goal.
Mhm.
So we're doing okay. We paid about 42,000 in fees this year, which is standard, so that's about normal for what we've been paying on a percentage basis. So we've contributed 200,000 this year.
Dave, when did we first open this account?
2015,
2015.
and it was
10 years.
It was J.P. Morgan Chase. Then they closed down their operations here, so it got transferred over to the Raymond James Group. Yeah, and we've done fine. On an inception basis, I think we've for the whole time, we've done well over the I think it's like 6.4, 6.6% for the 10 years from the yield over the inception since 2015, based on our contributions and earnings. About it, all I have for the fund itself. I was in the NASBA CBT admin committee that I'm on. We had a meeting, it was from 9:11 p.m. to 5 a.m. And one of the things that was brought up was the NASBA closing the Guam Computer Test Center. And they discussed the fact that UOG had signed the contract with Prometric.
Okay.
To take over the test center. So University of Guam is going to take over the Guam Computer Test Center from NASBA, who was operating it all this time under a contract with the board. So UOG takes it over. They will assume all of the setup. Apparently, all of the equipment in the test center belongs to Prometric, all the servers and the machines and everything. So I understand that they're right now, UOG is negotiating with the landlord to, redo the test centers, make it much smaller. Because right now they have two big test rooms, they're only gonna have one. So they have the one test room and a server room and a little bit of space for the office administrative people. But
There's no need for them to have an agreement with us.
no. The original test center agreement was with the board. NASBA was gonna operate the test center and contracted with the board, and that's why we got part of the surcharge fee. And then they also had a contract with Prometric, but with UOG taking it over, then the board doesn't have to worry about any more contract with Prometric or NASBA. And UOG takes it over, they contract directly with Prometric.
Okay.
For the hourly rates of testing and all that kind of stuff. And I think that helps them negotiate, number one, for the rates that they get paid. And number two, helps them put them on a better footing for breaking even or making a little money. John and I talked to them over the last 3 or 4 months about doing it. They're doing it through the
RCOG.
yeah, what do you call it, the Research Corporation, the UOG, Guam Research Corporation, or whatever they call it. So their staff will be on the payroll for the research center or whatever. So that's how they're doing it. So and they're going to adjust the surcharge fee. When we had with NASBA was charging $140 a section. And we got part of that, and NASBA kept the rest of it. So what we lose is our part of the surcharge fee. So UOG will charge a surcharge fee still. I think it'll be a little less, but they keep the whole fee, which is okay with us.
It wasn't a substantial revenue.
No, in the last, since COVID, COVID basically shut it all down. And since COVID, we've been lucky to make even a little over $1,000 a month. And like last month was like $490. So it's not something
If you look at
beneficial to us.
FY25 year to date,
Yeah.
what is it? The testing fees only 13,000.
Yeah, so it's been averaging about 1,000 a month, so it's not enough to make any difference to us.
So instead of this coming to us, it just goes to
Yeah, it
UOG.
just goes to them.
Yeah, so which is
well,
good. Right,
And it kind of leaves us out of that picture. So
When does this transition become effective?
they're shooting for, though they were shooting. So, but what, I think the way they're planning it is that there's not gonna be any cessation or anything like that.
Yes,
It's
no
just all happens
interruption.
behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So from a candidate standpoint, there's no disruption or anything with all the candidates or whatever, but I'm not sure when.
But it'll be seamless.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the candidates won't
Yeah,
have to
no.
go to a different.
No, the candidates won't see any different other than maybe pricing.
Oh, okay, so it's
Good
possible,
now? Okay.
so it's possible if they announce the change in ownership, there could be some change in pricing is what you're saying.
Yeah, it could
Okay.
be, but, Roseanne hasn't gotten back to me about what they want to do for the church, so.
Okay,
Um,
but as far as the mechanics, everything else is just seamless, there's no.
right.
no change.
The only thing that was asking about for the time being was that could she still send the money to us and we transfer it to them? Because she's having a problem trying to get their internal systems changed, and I said, yeah, that's okay, that's just a pass through. So it won't affect us, but she said she needs time to get her internal systems changed. But otherwise, it's a good thing because then we still have a test center that our candidates locally can go to, to testing. So thank goodness.
Yes, that's great news, actually.
Yeah. Dr. Jones did, her negotiation with Prometric, I guess, paid off as they ponied up enough to
Yeah.
make it worthwhile. So
I didn't think they would make it, though.
I didn't either, but she got them to do it. So. I think they realized that they needed to do something.
Yes,
Yeah, they've lived off the largesse for a long time here.
okay, good. So that was, I think we can move on to the visiting professor update.
Yeah, I don't have anything about a new visiting professor at this point. We
Okay.
did pay for the two that participated in supporting the MAC program over the summer.
Are the expenses already reflected in the,
As far as I
Oh,
know, I keep asking, are you gonna take money? And they say, don't worry about it, we're paying ourselves, the endowment people, so they handle it. If not, it's their problem, not ours, but they keep telling me yes.
I spoke to that professor, the new one, is it Conrad?
And
Ed
Dr.
Conrad,
Conrad,
yes.
yeah, Ed Conrad.
And he was asking me if we're going to continue the program, because he might know some
Yeah.
folks that might be interested in
Absolutely,
participating.
sure, bring them on. But I am happy to announce formally, just for the record, that the entrance exam that we all have been wanting to get changed for the
The
last 5 years.
ACE exam, right?
ACE
exam,
exam.
okay.
Has been
Has been aced.
aced. Thank God. And
Are they replacing it with any, or they
no,
just got rid of it?
it's just gone. I think Dr. Jones figured as the dean, when you realize what all you have to go through to put in a new one, she figured it's easier just to get rid of the old one and leave it in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I.
Hopefully
agree with
that'll
that.
mean there'll be graduating more.
Right,
Yeah.
well, enrollment
Martha.
is, Martha sent an email that said she's got 24 enrollees in the new class, that's twice as much as she.
that's
had
a lot,
before.
24 for intermediate
Yeah,
one, is that what
Yeah.
it's intermediate?
Yeah.
A, or whatever
so
it is.
enrollment is doubled already, just by. like
You
they-
sent us
that
that email
stupid
from
exam.
Martha.
Yeah.
So it's 24, 50% turnover, so at least we
Yeah.
get 7 now.
Yeah.
It should be more.
Yeah,
It should be higher.
so that's a good thing, so we'll see, you know, what, one thing is, it remains to be seen as how well they do in class, but, I can't believe it could be any worse than not having people participate simply because they didn't pass some test that's not wholly applicable today.
But that 24, I'm just curious if some of them are due to, because they heard that it's not going to happen. Or, I mean, they didn't really have
What
an
Martha
impact.
said, yeah.
They were already
Yes.
communicating it, just take it.
Conrad,
Yeah.
Conrad said it got on.
Yeah, good thing.
Is Martha teaching that course? I don't know why she wrote about it. Or no, she just gave me.
I think the 2 out of 3 votes probably to eliminate it. There was probably her and Dr. Conrad that voted to get rid of it.
No, but who's teaching this one class of the 24?
It's intermediate, I don't know who that is.
Not sure, but yeah. But I could say it's Martha, but it also could be Jason, he still teaches. There's a couple of, they still have a couple of adjuncts. Teach,
Yeah, I hope
yes, I'm not.
develop an interest.
Yeah.
With that class.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if the prospect of another pathway,
Well, that's.
Also had anything to
that's
do with that.
something
Yeah, it
we-
can't
that's
hurt.
something
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
discuss a little further.
yeah, I
We'll
wonder if
get-
they're
we'll-
getting wind of that.
We'll get
Yeah.
to that.
That may get more.
We'll get-
and I don't think the ones that are there now are as a result of that.
Question is what effect it'll have on the back program.
Yeah, that's the other question.
Anyway, we'll get to that.
What was the other question he asked?
Uh,
So, anyway.
yeah,
And I said, what we just said.
Anyway, if there's no more.
no more visiting professor, we'll go to the requests for approval. I'll look at those.
New license.
We got a lot.
Three,
We have
Guam.
3 from one.
And it's good that Dave, BCM's got one.
Yeah, BCM's got one, then there's one that they, Bank of Guam. Yeah, I think Issa's happy about that. And then the other one is.
Is in our text, is EY.
Yeah,
It's
EY.
Suji's.
Yeah, Susan, yeah. Yeah,
Move to approve.
okay.
Can I hear a second?
66 new licensees.
Well, second by Jenny. Okay, approved.
And always nice to have new licensees.
I think we're already up to what, 9,000?
We're surpassing the 8,000 mark.
Okay, almost 9, okay.
So next item we have is about the UAA, the new version of the UAA. So this is just for information purposes, but the 9th edition was released and it includes the change for the new pathway. They call it a new pathway. It's a new pathway, yeah, it's back to the future. The new pathway is a baccalaureate degree with accounting concentration, 2 years of qualifying experience and completion of the exam. The only difference from the old way versus the new way is the new pathway incorporates a broader role for experience to be determined at the jurisdictional level. Meaning the jurisdiction. How much, what kind of experience you really need in those 2 years. And, you know, it goes, that point actually goes back to the debate that's been on for years about, well, if you need extra hours, what do you need it? You know, basket weaving, does it qualify? Yeah, it always has. So this is relative more of the new pathway, meaning new because the UAA is written such that it supposedly gives jurisdictions the means to specify what kind of experience or what level of experience you need. And then
So
there,
this will help mobility for those states that change, that get rid of the 150
well, this,
or substantial equivalency.
yeah, they're kind of making the shift from state-based to individual, meaning individual mobility, which is what we basically had all along. In the past, it was state-based, meaning that this state, you could come in and because they allow the test services and all those things. We never actually allowed what we consider firm mobility, which is what everybody else did by state. Yeah, our state let you come no matter what. So we never had firm mobility. If you want to do a test working one, you have to have a test license, and you have to have a firm permit. The firm has to have a permit. And I'm in the process of trying to better define exactly what you have to get a firm permit in Guam, because I get requests from people that say, I live in India and I need a firm permit so I can do remote audits. I'm saying, nope, I don't think so. You need to have a nexus. You have to have somebody here representing you. You know, Doesn't matter if they're a California CPA or what, but they have to be here on the ground in Guam if you wanna do a test work and get a firm permit, so I'm trying to, it's kind of vague in our law right now, so I'm trying to clarify that with you. But this individual mobility is basically what we've always had. It as an individual, you can go anywhere you want to practice. Anywhere in the States. And individuals can come here and practice now. If they're going to open an office here or live here, then they need to get an actual Guam license, like a reciprocal license. But if you're just gonna come here to do some tax returns and, you live in Hawaii or whatever, then the mobility is, they're okay to do that. They don't have to have a Guam license to just do tax returns for people that live.
It's only for non-audit,
Yeah.
not a test.
For a test work, you have to. But by the same token, anybody with a Guam license can go anywhere in the States to do the same thing. So that's the real difference here is, the two things is the new pathway, which they say it's a new pathway, but to us it's really not new to what we had before.
Does,
And then the mobility change.
does reciprocity kind of work the same way as long as you have a license from another jurisdiction?
If you're
That's
active,
sufficient?
if you're actively licensed in another jurisdiction.
Yeah.
You come to Guam and say, I'm moving to Guam, I
Yes.
want to open an office here, you
Yeah.
can use your license to apply, and
Right,
what we determined is that you got licensed, mostly in accordance with our standards, which is the exam, education, and, experience. Now, they have something called, substantially equivalent reciprocity, which means, you basically have the same course stuff. They also have something called, a non-substantially equivalent reciprocity, and that means that you pass the exam. You have a minimum of 4 years experience. That's the old 4 in 10 thing, 4 out of the last 10 years. And then you have a degree of some, that fulfills the education requirements. And we use that, there's one guy in here, we use that on because he had a New Hampshire license. But he couldn't get to apply to us to replace his license before it expired. So in other words, to use the substantial equivalent reciprocity, you have to have an active license, and his had already expired, so he's like, well, what can I do? So look up the law, he fits the requirement for non-substantially equivalent reciprocity, so that works, so.
Does it say that on his
Yeah.
license?
I don't think so.
No, it's just a
Once-
method.
Once we issue
Yeah,
it,
it's
yeah,
just a
it's just a
method.
process for defining it. That's the way it's defined in the law.
Mhm.
There's 3 different ways, so it fits, but, that's how we're looking.
okay,
at
so
this.
for substantial equivalency reciprocity, it's more than just showing an active license from another jurisdiction?
Well, we used to have substantial equivalency, yeah, but, yeah, well. It's
So you
the
have to show-
it's the same thing, but
Yeah.
under mobility, if you have a license in, Ohio. Actively licensed Ohio, good standing, you can come to Guam and do a tax return or whatever and go
You don't
home.
have to.
and-
Yeah, but if you want to get licensed in Guam, you can't just say, well, here's my
Yeah.
license from another jurisdiction. You also look
Well,
at,
we look at the.
education and,
Education and the experience.
yes,
Yeah, we look at
okay.
that.
We have to go
So
through
it's a
the,
different process,
Yeah, reciprocity is a different process.
Yeah.
Mobility says they can come and go,
right?
but reciprocity means we're actually gonna issue you a license. So under mobility, we don't issue them a license, they just come and
So
go.
there's a different
Yeah.
credentialing
Different
process.
process.
but in practice, you still need a firm license, right?
Right,
Yeah.
if you're gonna practice as a firm, if you're gonna practice as an individual, they can come here and get the reciprocal license, which means they would have a Guam license.
A Guam
And then
license,
they could
but an
be-
individual
they could be a
license.
sole proprietor.
Oh, okay.
But
So
if you
sole
wanna do
proprietors-
any, but if you wanna do any test work, you have to have a firm permit.
Okay, but sole proprietors just doing tax work, they don't need a firm license here? They can just use their,
Right. Just-
whatever, their individual
Just their name.
license, their
yeah,
name, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I can use Dave Sanford CPA and do taxes. But if I
Okay.
wanna do anything, any kind of a test work, then I have to have a firm
A per
permit.
month, yes, okay.
I can be a sole proprietor with a firm permit, but I have to
Yeah,
get the
so,
firm
so in
permit.
general, for Guam, it's easy, I would say it's relatively easy just to do CPA work here if for non-attest. As long as you're actively
Yeah,
licensed
Yeah,
or even have.
just like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's equivalent to where you'd
Yeah.
be anywhere else, anywhere in the
Oh,
other
okay.
55 jurisdictions,
Mhm.
54 jurisdictions.
I mean, we're not that restrictive, it's just only when it comes to the attest work.
Only
that it-
come- Yeah, the test work. Is really limited. Yeah. Okay. So if we move on to the next thing, we're looking at the latest pathways map. And this one
Yeah.
is next one, but basically there's 3 or 4 maps that John has and they all say a little different, but this is basically the culmination of the 4 he has. And it just shows you that there's 25 jurisdictions that have basically made or tried to make changes to their law to adopt the new pathway, the new old pathway. So this just shows you who's done what per se. The only one that's really questionable is Michigan, of course, where they passed pathways legislation, which allows you to get sit through the exam and be a CPA with an associate's degree or higher. And as it says, the notes there is not supported by the Board of Accountancy, the Department of Licensing, or the CPA Society, but the legislature passed it anyway. Well, that's Michigan for you. So, you know, it's an outlier for all kinds of reasons. But the regular little gray areas like us and all the rest, the other 30, I guess, if we have 55 jurisdictions, haven't done anything.
But it's likely everyone will be doing something. What is Puerto Rico? Why is it just solid blue, or is that because they're just small?
Well, that's the darker color, I guess, and I'm not sure why. It's so
Or like
dark.
Massachusetts?
But, It's a little bit like the Texas, Alaska, it's part
Oh,
of
you
the.
probably can't see
I
the
think
circle around it.
Yeah, I think they passed one of
California is also dark.
some law, yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. I think it might mean that there's stuff pending in the legislature, I mean, that's my best
Okay.
guess. Because what this map shows is what was actually signed into law, or what was killed, or, you know, has passed, but not actually been signed in, which is the
Yeah,
yellow.
just curious what's the difference between California and Arizona? I mean, if there's,
Yeah, I think the blue means that there's legislation pending.
okay. And Greece is nothing.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that gives you an idea, I mean, I think, the discussions that have been had, and the executive director calls that I've been on and things like that. I don't think there's any one jurisdiction that believes that they can say, we're not gonna accept those people because of this, that, or the other. Because as we all know, there's no empirical evidence that 150 hours, it makes it a better CPA than 125 hours or whatever, so. The differences aren't that big, except for this Michigan thing, but basically, if you had education, you passed the exam and you got experience, we're all pretty much on an equal footing, so. No jurisdiction has come up and said, we're not gonna accept those people because they didn't do blah, blah, blah. So, but I think ultimately you're probably gonna find everybody working the new pathway into their law somewhere, and probably something we should consider just adding it back. It doesn't mean that it's anybody or worse. You know, we had it up until basically 2021, so only 4 years ago is when we changed. I think we probably need to think about adding it back to our law now that they've changed the UAA.
Yeah.
I don't wanna be equivalent, but I haven't, heard any expression from anybody that says they think that their jurisdiction would say we can't accept somebody that's licensed in another jurisdiction. If you've been licensed in another jurisdiction, they're going to accept you one way or the other.
Okay, that's what the app,
Yeah, the next thing is just an announcement that the mobile app has been released. And appears to be working well. That was one of the things we covered in the CBT admin committee. They did a PowerPoint display of, basically those, it's like I said, it's designed to give the candidates convenient, mobile friendly way to prepare for, apply to, and stay informed about the CPA exam. Anytime, anywhere. They can do it all on their phone. They get real updates, real-time updates. And they have access to documents and they can submit their stuff. They can do it, basically anything they do on the website through a computer, you can do on the phone. NASBO basically footed the bill for this app. I think it cost them somewhere over $2 million. But it's available on both, iOS and Android. Gives you personalized alerts, jurisdiction-specific guidance, customized timeline, and on-demand access to important resources. As of the meeting I had, I think it's been about a week and a half. When they announced it. They announced it like 2 days before our meeting, the CBT admin committee meeting. They said that they had something like 11,000 downloads or something like that.
oh, the app.
14,000 downloads in those 2 days. So apparently it's the word's getting around.
I was checking to see why I didn't download it yet. Just check it out.
I guess the candidates are considered it useful.
Well, these are all young,
Yeah,
that's all they do. The only thing they know is their phone.
kids that are grown up on their phone. Yeah, exactly.
Doing it on your laptop is just
Yeah.
convenient.
Whether that's a good thing or not, don't ask me to comment. But
What, they don't know their email address, like what email address?
definitely is a fact of life. But I'm sure most of
Some
them,
things are easier on your phone.
Yeah.
yeah, like making phone calls over the internet. Now you can.
Buying an airline ticket.
you can-
Yes, it is.
I won't do it. But, making phone calls, especially international phone calls, are so much better, so much easier. On the phone, especially if you have internet access, the cost is just, next to nothing compared to what it used to be. Plus, although we complain about the younger having no memory because if it's not on their phone, then it didn't happen. I think for some of us that are getting older, it's a boon to have the phone to make notes on. And especially to make voice notes, so it's much easier to use than the old stuff. Anyway.
Good.
Financials.
Financials, the last page is,
Yeah.
last page.
Our revenues are in the end of August, they're 873,800 basically. So we only need 27,000 to hit 900 again. I'm pretty sure we'll hit that next month.
So we'll beat last year in terms
Yeah.
of total revenues, okay.
We'll equal or beat it, yeah. And that means we'll have about a 300,000 net excess.
And that's after making the 200.
Right after the 200, so. We could think about contributing that, but I covered the budget stuff last time, right? And so I went through the budget bill and I found this in the special revenues listing with FY 25, this 699, 600 was what they listed. And I asked about that and they said, well, we just took that for everybody from 25 and used the same thing again. And nobody got an increase on blah, blah, blah. And I went further and I found in the bill that they passed that there's a section way in the back where they actually appropriated us the 699,600.
Okay.
And there was a section called funding source, and in that section, it says that. Any special revenue funds, and they listed a bunch of them, can expend up to their receipts. Cause of course, they keep their own money, right, so. Unfortunately, we're not on that list. Although I've been told that it doesn't matter, we can still spend whatever we make, right? So I've asked our surrogate AG attorney, Joe O'Donnell, I've asked him, can you take a look and find out?
So did they pass the budget though? Is it
They
be
passed it,
overridden?
they
or-
passed it, but
They
it
overrode
was
it?
waiting for the governor's signature.
He vetoed it.
He vetoed it, and I don't know if they've overridden it yet or not. I haven't heard anything about it. Presuming they probably will ultimately. Anyway, that's kind of where we stand. So we at least did get appropriated, so. It's actually.
So we can still operate
Yeah,
on October
yeah,
1st.
The appropriations there, so that's not a problem. Question
It's
is,
the
can we just
excess.
spend all the rest of our money?
Surplus.
Warren Joe to tell me before we do it, and then BJ tells us you can't do that, take the money back.
Take the money back.
Give the money to us.
Yeah, so anyway, we're okay there, but with 800, we'll probably hit 900 by next month.
Otherwise, we can only expend $699.
Right, yeah, that's what I was looking at, so. But we can always spend another couple hundred next year, put it in, but see if we can get an amendment to stuff us into that
Yeah,
funding
the
section.
catch-all one, the net one.
Yeah, yeah, the reason I'm asking Joe is that I was told that, by two people that, well, it's not in there, but we read it into the record. They find the record they read it into and see if so, I mean, he knows how to do that, so we'll see if he finds anything. But I'm also asking him, I'm working with him about rewriting the law and trying to change these archaic procedures we had for that hearing and all that crap we had to go through when somebody like Texas says, you know, you're a candidate for the exam, you signed the thing that said you won't cheat, we caught you cheating, you're out of here. I don't have to have hearings, I don't have to do any of that crap. It's just that our law was written a long time ago and it's very archaic and follows the old California process and all the things, and it's relative. It's actually written to where it's only relative to licensees per se, so. That's something that really want to get simplified. So,
How does the relationship with Joe work?
well.
Does the
we
AG bill
have-
us and we pay the AG or?
Well, I haven't figured that out yet, but, according to the MOU we had, that's the way I thought it worked, but, then I reread the thing again, and it says it continues until somebody says it stops, and nobody did, so. I'm presuming it'll just go on and then we'll see. I mean, I'll ask Joe, you want to bill us directly or, yeah, I mean.
But we've paid him in the past, right?
Yeah, doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, well, I haven't asked him about it since then, but we'll see. But, we have his basic hourly rates the same as it was before, I think that's stated. So. Anyway, so we're okay. We did, check on our contract renewal amendment. We got it done, of course, we got it all signed, we sent it to the AG's office and, we checked twice, and the second time we checked, they said, oh, we have to review the original contract before we can sign off on this one, so can you send us that? We're like, can't find it somewhere. So, but, if we waited, we would wait forever, so cause they weren't gonna tell us that.
Yeah.
So we said that to them, last week, so it's still.
Send it to who? To,
The AG's office,
AG's
has to go there first.
okay.
So it's winding.
The
its
woman we were working with is still there. She was really good.
Who's that?
It was a local, was it Lar?
I'm not sure
I have
what it
it
is,
somewhere in my
but
emails.
Beth is
Oh, yeah.
talking to the lady there.
Sure got.
we'll see, but it's winding its way through the process.
And your contract is 3+1 plus what, or I don't
Yeah,
remember.
3+1+1. Yeah, so this is the first +1. So,
So when does it expire?
it'll run from October 25 to September 26th, then we do one more that will go through September 27, that we have to do. And in 27, we have to do another RFP.
And the rent contract kind of mirrors or similar to the,
It's somewhere in there, and I'm not sure where. Yeah, have to take a look at that too. The one thing I did want to point out is on the little chart back here. This is the first time, where, our application revenues have actually not surpassed last year's.
yeah, I was
For
noticing
this month.
24 is better.
And, but if you notice, we had 771 sections this year, had 1,100 last year. And that was, I think, because a lot of the people that were taking the exam were the people that had BEC credits. And they wanted to try and get done before that expired, so that was a big jump. Cause we're down from 965 to 9 million with the 1131 last year. Versus 749, 728, 771, so we haven't really gone down a lot relative to this year's level, but relative to last year, just that. Still, if you look at our total application volumes, the application is the two low lines down here that just kind of keep running over each other. It's basically the same as it was last year. I mean, there's a 12 applicant difference on the year to date. So the applicants are steady. Last year to this year is basically the same level. And when NASDAQ changed their billing process for taking sections, where it used to be you paid 100 and take 1 or take 4, it didn't matter. Because they added the new sections with the disciplines, now they have, seven things to take. So they changed the billing so that you apply and you pay the applicant fee and they approve you to sit. Once you're approved to sit, then every time you take a section, you pay a fixed fee. And our share of that's the $20. Where in the past, when you could pay the 100 and take however many you wanted, the average rate was about 15 something dollars, per candidate. So per section. So even though our section total has gone down, the section revenue has increased. So on an overall basis between applicants and sections, we're still up 7.7% over last year. So even though the sections came down, the applicants are steady. And our total revenue is actually 7%, 7.7% more than it was last year. Yeah, so in that sense, it's we're still hanging steady.
So that's that top, is that the top line on the revenues?
I think so. Yeah, exam application fees, yeah, that's the top one.
So because the section pricing has gone up, the number of sections has declined because they're price sensitive?
I don't think no, I don't think so. I think the decline, because you're talking about 400 sections, but I don't think the decline is not pricing, not relative to price, it's relative to
The change in.
all the people who had a BEC credit, because BEC ended in December 23. So then had 18 months for that credit to exist, because it was automatically extended through June of 25, this past June. So all of the ones that had that credit wanted to try and pass the rest of the exam
So there was
before
an
it
incentive to get
expires.
it out of the way.
Because once it expires,
Yeah.
then they have to take a discipline. So
there was a rush to
yeah.
complete.
First thing, that's probably the explanation for the.
Pretty sure that's what it was, because since then it's just leveled off and since June, everything kind of leveled
Because
off.
last year, August was
Yeah.
one of the highest months.
Yeah. And
It is the highest month.
people were realizing that they were getting close to needing to do something. And, you know, we still get requests for extensions of the BEC credit every now and then, but depending on whether they can justify their hardship or not, we give it to them, but we're still sticking with the overall 30-month policy that we can extend you as long as you're within that window, and we're not going past that. So. But yeah, overall, we're doing fine, expense wise, we're fine. Next month, the dues publication, the NASDAQ dues will, yeah, that's the 16,000. That's the only other really big expense that we'll have, for the rest of the year. Everything else is normal, so we should come out with probably, 305 in excess revenue, something like that for the year. So overall, the thing I'm encouraged about is the fact that our application fees are still holding in there. I mean, we thought that because of the new exam and all the score holes that it would go down, and it didn't. It's still hanging in there. And our new licensees and our renewals are just as good as they ever were. So they're going up a little bit every year. So we topped 390 this year in renewals, which you'd think sometimes when things get harder, people stop renewing, but apparently they didn't.
So at $100 a piece, does that mean we have 3,900 licensees or?
Renewals, basically, yeah, the individual licensing fees are the renewals, so it's three. So basically, yeah.
We have about 3,900 licensees.
Renewals, yeah. Not counting all the new licensees. At an average of 50 a month, we've added 600 or 700 new licensees this year. And they paid that's 141,000. And, you know, they're not part of the renewal process. They won't renew until next year.
Yeah.
And it's not prorated, so they pay the 225 whenever they get licensed. So that'll add to the, we've got something to 80-something% of active licensees. We always have a few that drop out along the way because they don't bother to renew.
Mm-hmm.
And they might be delinquent for a year or two, and then they'll come back and say, "Oh, didn't know I was delinquent.
Yeah.
What do I have to do?" And then some of them wait 5 years and, "Oh, what do I do?" Well, now you have to pay the reinstatement fee. But Jessica's also makes them pay the penalty for every year they're late.
When we do the renewals, do we go back and check against the NASBA CPE information?
We check all they have to have completed their CPE, the whole 9 yards. And if you didn't renew for 2 years, she makes you pay the late fee for both years. So
as she should.
As she should. So that's our penalty revenue is up to 55,000 a year. So
Yeah, you
that's
got
mostly
50, you got
penalties.
50 from me.
There's a little bit of,
I thought I paid it.
I've paid it too, you know.
And the funniest thing, I get
But
these,
there's a little bit of interest in there, maybe about $300 of interest, and then there's some other fees like the transfer fees, like the $25, $50 stuff. That's not even $1,000, $2,000 a year, so it's almost all penalties.
yeah, and those renewable licenses that come in and all of a sudden it's like for three years, there's a.
It's true.
Those
Yeah,
are
we had-
2026,
had a guy
25.
Guy's been late for 2 years, he pays $200 renewal fee and $150 late fee. So, but they pay it. Every now and then we get somebody who complains, and I'm like, well, look, if I have to pay it, you have to pay it. So, and I have paid it.
I paid it too.
So that's all I have.
Okay.
Other than the annual meetings coming up in October.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be leaving on October the 7th, and I'll be back on November the 4th, but.
Are we having an October meeting?
We can do the October meeting. I forget what it's on.
But you're leaving October 7th.
Yeah, but I can do it. We can do
Virtual.
it. Virtual.
Yeah, thanks for
it'll
working
be,
on the scholarship. I got that, I
Yeah.
signed up.
It'll be October 16th. Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
October 16th is good. It's the day after October 15th.
So you're gonna go?
Yeah. Yeah,
So we got
Good,
two. You want me to ask for a third? Well, I could ask.
Yes, you can say no.
We'll see. I'll ask.
Okay, all right.
So,
Motion to adjourn. Okay, here's a second.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. So the next meeting will be October 16th.
we're 60.
Perfect.
It'll be
Virtual.
video.
Well, I mean, if you guys are here, you can do it if you want, or we can just all do it virtual.
Virtual's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Virtual's good still. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.